Hello, and welcome to It's a Woman's World. I am your host, Irina Dubinskaya. And today in our gallery, my guest is Shannon Rizzo. And she's the owner of Global Girl Life.
Hi, Irina.
So, I've heard a lot of great stories about you. But I would like to hear your story.
Wonderful. I'd love to tell my story. So I'm a Nashville native. I was actually born in New York, but I moved here when I was only 1 year old because, like most people that start out in Nashville, my dad wanted to be a musician. And so he moved our family here when I was 1 year old. So I've been here my entire life since then. I've embraced the Nashville community and I've been an entrepreneur. I started out as an artist actually. And so that's what brings me to O Gallery today, just like you, is art. I think it celebrates the heart of souls and brings people together, whether it's music or if it's painting or if it's writing. And so that's where my passion is. And so I started off as an entrepreneur when I was around 20 years old. I actually quit college because it wasn't for me, and started Nashville's first bike courier service, which is a courier service that delivered small packages in downtown Nashville, kind of like what you see in New York or Chicago. I was able to bring that to Nashville, and the reception here was absolutely outstanding because it was a cutting edge business. And just because my heart is in service, I've always been in service. I volunteer, but my passion for business and service has been what drives me. And so I just never told my customers no, and ended up somehow many years later with a trucking company that was nationwide and delivering, pallets of equipment and airplane parts and just kind of taking over the United States with courier work. So in the meantime, also, I was able to start an import company where I imported plywood from Finland and from China. And I had no idea at that time, being a Nashville girl, how big the world actually was. And once I discovered that I could talk to someone over the internet and bring a product from another side of the world to Nashville, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely incredible. And so I was having a hard time communicating with the vendors and realized that I'm probably going to have to learn how to speak another language if I'm going to really truly communicate what I'm trying to order. And so I just basically got, kind of like you had told me your story that you never really officially took English. I really never really officially took Mandarin either. And so I used apps on the web to translate what I wanted to say to the vendors, and it opened up a whole new world, which is kind of what drove the passion for Global Girl Life. That was many years ago, and after that, I ended up selling my company, and I went to work for other people. Just like everybody else, I went to a 9-to-5 job, or sometimes it was a 2 to 10. The schedule really wasn't what I wanted. But kind of seeing what other businesses were doing and serving people, I kind of honed in on what my passion was for Global Girl Life, which is to promote other women to do courageous things and start their own companies, and to travel. So even though I had never traveled before, I was doing business in China. And to me, I was like, well, if I can communicate through learning another language, what must it be like to actually go to a place and meet the person that you're doing business with? Like, how could that relationship change what drives business? And so I started to save my money, and I went back to college and finished my degree in international business with with a minor in international economics and in Asian studies. And I learned Mandarin officially for a couple of years, just a little base of education there. And I just thought, what can I do to be able to travel the world, to meet people all over the world? But more than that, what can I do to connect those people with people in Nashville? Because this is where my home is, and I call it home sweet home, just like most of us do that live here. But I really wanted to promote the community of women that were here and support them and show them that just a little girl that lives in Antioch, Tennessee can make their dreams come true. And so if I can do it, then how can I not share that information and the knowledge that I've learned over the years to be able to do that with other women?
So this is basically what motivates you.
Every day. Every day I wake up, I heard once someone said, if you wake up and you jump out of bed and you can't wait to get to your job, then you are on the right path. And that's what I'm doing. And so to be able to be, even here with you today, someone who has her own show and you have goals and you're, learning to speak another language or have already maybe 2 or 3 or 5, right? Like, that's so exciting to me. And that's what charges me, is that I can get out of bed and there's opportunities. Even Olga bringing me here at the O Gallery, I actually was a patron of hers, and then came back in to do a little video when I started this company, only in February of this year. This is my 3rd business. I came into her gallery because this is a place of inspiration for me. When I come in here, sometimes I just sit outside of Marathon Village, and I just get inspiration from the area itself. But when I come in here and I see all the different artists pouring their hearts out, it's just so motivating that these came from people. This art was designed from someone who poured their heart out and put their emotions into something. And I want to teach women how to do that with their life. I want to promote that they put their heart and soul into something that makes them money and promotes their family so that they can, grow their family and teach their children that this is what life balance is about, and this is what happiness is to do what you love and have your value system line up with that. And so Global Girl Life is designed to promote adventure, stepping outside your comfort zone all the time, every day, every minute. Even being in an interview is very nerve-wracking for me. Like, I love you. I love to talk to people, and that's what generates that motivation for me. But to be in front of the camera it makes me very nervous. So to start this company, I actually had to be live and get a YouTube channel and be able to talk to people. But it's knowing there's someone like you or someone like Olga or Jennifer or Sarah or Teresa, whoever they might be, that I'm looking at them and helping them through what they want to go through and how they want to reach their goals. And so I've also started a line of products where I have a subscription box. And when I travel to talk with the vendors and do the importing that I do, I also put together the treasures that I find that are culturally inclusive of that community of where I am. And I bring those back to people and then mail them out in a box of treasures every month from whatever country I've been to. And then with my consulting, I'm able to do that one-on-one piece with each woman, discover what her goals are. And I even have a few men clients, which is amazing, and I love that. So I think that Global Girl Life is every girl's life. I just happen to be one of them that gets to live it first and help others do the same thing.
So you're saying that Global Girl Life is a service which is unique by...
It's unique because it's individualized. With the consulting that I'm doing, I'm reaching women one-on-one, and I'm able to talk about and help them discover what their goals are. A lot of women aren't even really sure where they are in their life or where they're going. And so we do a discovery where we basically go through what they've lived through and what drives them and find their value system. And then we will go through many phases. If they want to start their own business, they can. If they're in their own business and want to take it to the next level, we do that. And that's the service that I provide, is providing an adventure. I even do events and activities. So for instance, in 2 weeks, for my birthday, I want to celebrate by going skydiving, something I've never done, but I want to. And so I've even had guest bloggers that talked about it, and it excites me. And I thought, well, what better way to bring in a new year of life than to, try it. So that event is open to the public to join me. It's going to be on June 16th, which is a Saturday, the day before Father's Day. And I'm encouraging any woman who wants to overcome her fears to come out and live that adventure. And then afterwards, we will talk about it, enjoy it, maybe have some coffee or a cocktail, and realize that we've done something that we would have never done before. And if people have already skydived and would want to come out and support or do it again, I think that's excellent. So one of the services is to kind of break people out of that comfort zone that they're in every day and then talk about it, grow with it, set goals, and accomplish them. And then also have a subscription box that kind of like is a gift for anyone.
Yeah, you can't advance if you are not going out of your comfort zone. That's for sure. Every day. And that's what I'm talking in my Facebook Live to get out of your comfort zone, because what I'm doing, I'm safe on weekends. And this is a little bit how you're breaking too when the wind is too strong. So what one of the biggest advances in your industry over the past 5 years?
That's an incredible question. The last 5 years in an online-based business has been moving so quickly that one of the things that I offer in services is adaptation to online marketing and having a business online. Because even though I had a company for 10 years, another company for 6 years, it wasn't really online based. And so the world has changed so much. There's so much technology and information available that it really has changed the way that we have relationships. I feel that a lot of the social platforms were designed for people to communicate more, but actually it is a reversal, and people are communicating less. And so one of the things that I want to offer is that when you do business with me, you're going to understand how to use online services, media, whether it's Pinterest or Facebook or YouTube, or Instagram, that is just a platform for you to be able to reach the people that you want to reach, but also to connect with them in a physical world. So a great example of that is that Global Girl Life, I came here and did the video with in Olga's gallery and wrote that on my website, but then reached out to her and wanted to meet her, right? So it's the relationship development. The technology that's changed over the last 5 years has made it to where we can meet people in China or Greece or Cuba or wherever it might be, and even countries that I had never heard of. I can talk to people there on WeChat or WhatsApp, and then I can make plans to go visit them. Like, that's where it is that connection. So a great example is this last trip that I did for importing was in China and Hong Kong. And in a Facebook solo travel group, I met a girl who does solo travel as well. And, she lives in China, in Guangzhou, where I was actually going to visit. So I started chatting with her and asked her, some great, where could I visit? What would be great tourism places to go? Could she give me some insight? And she said, well, why don't you come and I will show you what those great things about my province are. And of course, that's exactly what Global Girl's about. So I said yes. And so she took me on a hike to Baiyun Mountain, which is a place I would have never discovered on my own. And so I was able to meet her, and now we have stories together. We have a story that we can share with other people, and we can take that to the next level. We're actually doing business together now. So now she has written a guest blog for the Global Girl Life blog that comes out on Thursdays or Fridays every week, and she's the guest host for that. And so we're going to learn more about the province from her eyes, and then also with my take on that, and that's the connection.
So, Shannon, which countries did you visit during your venture?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I've been to just a few countries. My list is, of course, a mile long. I have been to, obviously, Canada, because it's right here. I'm actually from Buffalo, New York, and so it was just a little hop, skip, and a jump across the way to go to Canada. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Cuba. I have been to China several times because that's actually where my passion lies, is in Asia. I love the Asian culture. And in China, I have been to Tibet and also Hong Kong. I have been to Greece. I have a trip coming up going to Mexico and the Dominican Republic. But part of the adventures for Global Girl Life, I'm also wanting to show what it's like to be a woman that's a leader in a community in developing countries. And so I used to be the program manager at Vanderbilt Peabody College for a program called the Humphrey Fellowship Program, where that's kind of where I met a lot of the friends that I have now that live in developing countries. And they were coming here in Nashville to study education. And so a huge component of Global Girl Life is to provide an education and a cultural background on some of these countries. So this year, I hope to be able to visit Mauritania, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, the Gambia, Thailand, and India. There's a couple of other ones as well that are on the list.
I'm with you here. I want to meet some of the people actually, which I was training at Vanderbilt University as well,
wonderful.
international graduate students.
Awesome.
And I get invitation all the time. So what about the food? That's a bit personal note.
Yes. Oh, okay. The food. Well, and also I've been to Russia. So let me just say that probably one of my favorite foods of all time is borscht. I went to Moscow a year and a half ago, and I could not get enough of it. So I love like beets and just all of the root vegetables are probably my favorite foods. And so whenever I travel, I try to find what the most authentic food is that's in that place. So I'm one of those people, I think it's maybe a little bit rare that I'll try anything once. So a lot of people will test that when I go places. So I've had some pretty extreme things, but like most recently with my trip to Hong Kong and to China, they have fish where they steam and broil the fish and then bake it, and it's the whole fish. So you eat the eyeball, you eat the part of the tail, everything in the fish. And so I even took video and showed that on my Facebook page, and a lot of people were like, "No way! There's no way I would try that." But again, stepping out of your comfort zone, I feel like you can discover so much more about yourself, and you'll know what you like and you don't like by trying new things. The food in Cuba was very fresh, but I feel like it was a little bit more plain. And so it's all been very different than what I'm used to growing up as a Southern girl in Nashville, where a lot of things are fried. We have like a meat-free, which is we do. I have to say, for my travels, by far. I'm a mostly vegetarian now, or a pescatarian, I guess you might say, but steak and beef in the South in the United States is probably the best. So Tennessee has the best barbecue, say that. But I think that in China, a lot for me is they do a lot of pickled vegetables. When I was in Greece, I experienced, of course, the Greek salads with olives and the cheeses, the feta cheese and olive oil. So the Mediterranean food really appeals to me as well. But I'm ready to try so much more. So I'm so glad that Nashville is growing in the way that we have so many different restaurants. I mean, we have Ethiopian and now Salvadorian and Ukrainian. I mean, like there's so many different foods here that we can experience. And I love to go places and try it and then come back and try it here to see how authentic it is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in trouble because, of course, when I was growing up, borscht is very common food on the table, and I used to live 50 miles from Greece.
Wow.
In Bulgaria.
Yeah.
So I used to live there 3 years, and I'm a little bit familiar with this part of the world.
What is your favorite food? What do you enjoy?
I really like Asian food. Thai food is one of my favorite, but it's like when you're talking about real food, not what you can buy in lunch special made right here. And real Chinese food. I also was exposed to Indian food, which is good
as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm afraid our interview is getting a little bit toward culinary show. We don't want it to happen.
It is a woman's world, and women love food, so.
And they love to cook, or at least sometimes they're best. Anyway, in closing, I would like to hear some of your business.
Okay. I think that the thing that I live by every day is honesty, and not only being honest with the people that you deal with, but being honest with yourself. And I think that being honest with yourself is probably one of the biggest challenges that you can ever do in life. And every day I wake up, I really make a habit of looking myself in the mirror and being honest with who I am at that moment and who I want to be. So I feel like that takes a practice. It's not something that comes natural. Yoga and meditation have really helped me kind of hone in on what that is and what that means. And so I would say honesty from within, it kind of perpetuates itself out, and you find yourself being more real and authentic with other people. And I think that that's also something that ties back into why Global Girl Life and my services are different than other people, is because I really have a good grasp on what it takes to have that honesty. And more so than that, I think that aligning your values with the way that you're living your life is super important. A lot of times we don't even know what our values are. We get swept up in the media or politics or our friends' lives or our partners' lives or whatever that might look like. And I think that if we really are true to ourselves and we're honest with who we are and what drives us, then our value system will be very clear. And that helps me be able to say yes and no to the right things, which puts opportunities in my way that I want versus the ones that I don't want, or that are not good for me, rather, because sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. And I think through self-exploration, you can really hone in and say yes to the right things that put you in the right path for what your destiny is. And the more aligned you are with your value system, the more of those people that are good for you are going to be drawn to you. I also think that you should do what you say you're going to do. And that to me is the most important thing in my business, is that if I tell someone something, I mean it. It's not going to come from a place of I feel like I have to, because it's going to be authentic and real. And I want to make sure that they understand, how big my heart is for what their goals are. And so every time I tell someone something, I'm right there with that. And I think that builds the credibility that it takes to be a business owner and to be a successful business owner and a happy person.
Thank you. Thank you very much for meeting with me today and this beautiful morning at All Gallery in Nashville and sharing your life